just like everybody else, so it's not really anything crazy or groundbreaking. I don't have a hot take on the situation. I'm just falling in line with everybody else's hot take, which isn't really a hot take anymore because it's kind of obvious. All right, nerds, let's do the stuff and the things. I apologize, as if you follow me on the socials, then you already knew before Friday that Friday's episode was not going to happen. There was a definite need for some personal time. I had personal issues that needed to be taken care of. Those have been taken care of, I hope, and we are moving right along. So, this news show is going to be, there's going to be a couple of things that happened that would have been on the Friday show had the Friday show happened. It did not, so they were important enough to carry over. We're not going to put everything that was going to be on the Friday show in here because then we'd be here for 2 hours and I don't got that kind of time. Either way, thank you very much for joining me. This is Generally Nerdy. The show is The Week in Nerddom, and coming up... Before we actually get into the news, though, don't forget to subscribe and, you know, ring the bell and do all the stuff on the YouTubes and wherever you're, well, listening. There's a subscribe button wherever you're listening if you're just listening. If you're watching somewhere else, then there's probably a follow or a subscribe button. Do that. All of the things. I don't have ads. I can't afford to reach out beyond just you being awesome and clicking that subscribe button and then suggesting it to somebody you know. Like, hey, you want to know about some nerdy stuff? You want to know about what's going on with all your favorite pop culture things? Then check this Generally Nerdy guy out. Either way, thank you very much, nerds. This is the news. Starting things off, we're in music. In music, we have three pieces we're going to be talking about today for music. First off, we're talking Dark Knight's death metal. Much like they did with Dark Knight's metal, there is going to be music associated with the Dark Knight's death metal book. This is very interesting in so many ways. So first, let's go over the artists that are going to be associated with the project. The artists are, Megadeth, Lacuna Coil, Opeth, hell yeah, Sepultura, Dream Theater, and Ozzy and Ghost. So some really epic metal bands, some classic metal bands, and Ghost. So this is the reason this is very interesting is because each band gets its own reissue of an issue in physical form. I couldn't exactly find out like what record label this was going out on because that's what they did last time. I'm not even 100% sure there is going to be music or if it's just going to be art based, but it does not happen until March, I believe. Where'd my books go? Or my notes go? It starts in March and it runs until April. And it's only being released in 13 countries, and the U.S. is not one of those 13 countries. So the individual reissues of the issues is going to France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and Turkey. That's where the single issues are going to be released. And then once they collect those single issues, they're going to release them to those countries as well as Russia, Poland, the Czech Republic, Korea, and Japan. That's going to be the collected omnibus version of this. There's going to be a lot of really awesome artwork with each of the bands involved. You can follow the link in the description to see some more of the artwork besides whatever is on the screen right now. That's just, it's great. I'm super excited about it. I just wish it was coming to the States. Either way, go check it out. If we do get more updates on this, we will definitely be keeping tabs on it. And now we're moving on. Next, we're talking about Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse, famous death metal band that kind of everybody knows at this point. They were in Ace Ventura, for crying out loud. They are putting out their 15th studio record in April, April 16th. The name of the record is going to be Violence Unimagined. They have released the first single, not a video just yet, but there is a single for the song called Inhumane Harvest, which in typical Cannibal Corpse style, presumably is just super brutal all the way through. But yeah, that's pretty freaking awesome. 15 records from this band that I'm sure a lot of people wrote off in the beginning because they were all about shtick. Not so much the case. We're moving right along, though. Next piece is kind of a follow-up, but it's big enough and new enough that we're going to give it its own little section, and that is Jon Schaffer, the Iced Earth guitar player who was part of the ridiculousness that happened on January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. He has turned himself over to the police. This is not brand new. This happened, honestly, about 2 weeks ago. We just didn't cover it on here because just the fact that he was there was kind of news. It was only a matter of time before he either got caught or turned himself in. So it's kind of admirable he turned himself in, but we're birdwalking. The news piece here is that his other project, Demons and Wizards, just lost its other primary contributor. I'm sorry, I gotta look the name up. Hansi Kursh, who also plays with Blind Guardian, has left the project and has left the record label as far as the project is concerned. The record label has dropped not only Wizards and Demons and Wizards, but also Iced Earth because of what Schaffer has done. And Hansi has released an official statement saying that he's left, that he's going to be focusing on Blind Guardian, and he wants to distance himself from the chaos that was, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but he wants to distance himself from the crazy that was January 6th. So really, I mean, I haven't listened to Wizards and Demons, so I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, but they got some really interesting artwork, so I'm going to definitely check it out. But I totally understand where dude's coming from. That is the music section, though, guys. Now, let's talk TV streaming. In TV streaming, we have two follow-ups. One of them is kind of huge. First up is not the huge one. It has to do with the Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut release date has been officially announced. It is going to be March 18th of 2021. So we are just about a month away from seeing the 4-hour Snyder Cut. So that's pretty freaking cool. Moving right along, our other follow-up is the larger one. This is Sandman. There have been some casting announcements. It has been, it's kind of mostly unknowns-ish. You can find the full casting link in the description, but the interesting part here is that Gwendolyn Christie, aka Brienne of Tarth, has been cast as Lucifer. Now, for those of you who kind of know what's going on with Sandman, and there's a lot of us, Sandman is kind of sort of the same universe as Lucifer, the comic book. So the series on Netflix that started, I forget where, elsewhere, CBS maybe? The series that is now on Netflix that is in its final season is already based on that comic book series, and it already has its version of Lucifer cast. So why would they not go with that version of Lucifer? What's his name? Tom Ellis, right? Yes, Tom Ellis. Why would they not choose Tom Ellis to play the part that it is basically the same person? And Neil Gaiman has made a statement along those lines. And the statement is, and I'm quoting it here as much as I can, the statement is, "The theology and cosmology of Lucifer is a long way from Sandman's. It's, quote, inspired by, unquote, Sandman, but you can't easily retrofit the Lucifer version to go back to Sandman." If you see what I mean. It seems easier and more fun to have the Sandman version of Lucifer be, well, the Sandman version, closer to the Sandman version of Lucifer, sorry, end quote. So, really, that's just Neil Gaiman saying, because I don't like how goofy Netflix or whoever the showrunners are have made Lucifer, it doesn't fit with my version of Sandman, so I'm going to do whatever the hell I want because it's mine. Basically is what that is. So interesting. I really want to see what Gwendolyn Christie can bring to the series. That being said, we're moving on. Next, we're talking about Netflix and Legendary Pictures teaming up for some anime features, anime series rather. The first two we're going to talk about are King Kong and Lara Croft. So this is potentially a confirmation of rumors, because we remember we talked about the potential for a Monarch series. That might be what this is. There's not a whole lot of news around this, and no release date for either of these animes. So the Lara Croft one kind of came out of left field for me. I didn't see anything pointing in that direction beforehand, but there's no release date for that one yet either. The other project that they have, and this is one that we've kind of sort of been keeping tabs on, is the new Pacific Rim anime series called The Black called Pacific Rim: The Black. It just got its first release date and trailer March 4th of 2021. So we are about a month away from that. Moving right along, staying in a similar vein, we're talking about a new animated series called Sonic Prime. This one is going to be geared much younger. It is also, though, going to be on Netflix. This time Netflix teaming up with Sega, obviously. Wild Brain and Sega are going to be the production houses. Netflix is going to be the distribution, and the actual show running is going to be left up to Man of Action, which, if you remember, we got to interview the guys from Man of Action. So hopefully, if you're watching this on the YouTubes, you should be seeing a link somewhere in the top corner, wherever the link goes, where I got to talk to the guys over at Man of Action. It was a lot of fun a couple years ago at Dink Denver, the underground comic book convention. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, they're going to be showrunners and executive producers. This is the same company that brought us Ben 10, that brought us Big Hero 6, the movie and the series. Also, some of these guys are the same guys who brought us the Wrestle Giants. No, what is it? Giant Hunter. I can't remember. The one about the little girl who has it was an amazing movie. Apparently the comic book, I have not read it, but apparently the comic book is fantastic. Joe Kelly is a fantastic writer. If you don't know Joe Kelly, then you don't know Deadpool. He is one of the guys over at Man of Action. Again, check the link there. I'll probably try and put it in the description as well to the interview that I did with those guys. Anyway, moving right along, we're talking now about Black Panther. There has been an official announcement that there is a Wakanda series coming to Disney Plus. So, Black Panther is getting developed into an actual series. The details as to how Ryan Coogler is going to be involved are a little fuzzy at this point. At the very least, he's going to be an executive producer. The Disney Plus made the announcement that they have signed a 5-year contract with Coogler in the series realm of things. So it's going to be series focused. He's going to be focusing on making series, but not just this series. It very specifically said he's going to be making multiple series with the company. So Coogler is involved. Don't know if he's going to be showrunning just yet. As this develops, we will be talking about it. Then we're talking about WanaVision, and part of this kind of should have been in rumors, but it's kind of also breaking news. So, breaking news, WanaVision had some footage leaks at the end of last week. Involving the next 2 episodes. It's not the entire episodes. The entire episodes did not leak, but a couple of minutes from each episode did leak onto the interwebs. I believe they were 2 separate Twitter videos, which Disney has since taken down, and there's a lot going on here. So the part that could have been rumor, because this is legit 100% happened, the part that should be kind of technically rumor is this might be affecting the release schedule for these 2 episodes. We might be getting 2 episodes of WanaVision this Friday instead of just the 1. But the other piece of this news is that Disney is taking legal action against the person who made the original post. Now, if you look hard enough, I did not, because I don't necessarily care about 2 minutes of a show I'm going to watch anyway. But if you look hard enough, it is the internet, so everything is up there forever. You can probably still go find this couple of minutes from each episode if you so desire. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of spoilery bits in the short amount of time that they have, but I mean, that is approximately 1% of the almost 10%, right? Math. So yeah, it's a fair-ish amount of each episode. So I mean, we'll say it's about 5% of the episode, whatever. I can't math right now. Yeah, but if you want to go find it, it does exist on the internet. I didn't choose to do so because I don't care. I'm gonna watch it. I would rather watch it on the timeline that Feige deems appropriate, and not necessarily because a bunch of hackers decided they want to steal footage. As things develop here, as we know, hopefully by the next episode, we'll know exactly what this means for the release schedule. We will be updating you. That's all we have. We're moving on. Next, we're talking about Titans. This is a new casting announcement as well. Could have gone in follow-ups, but whatever. Titans Season 3 will, in fact, see a Tim Drake. Tim Drake has been cast. The actor in the role is Jay Lycurgo. I hope I'm saying that last name right, and I apologize if I am not. I didn't see anything of note in his biography. This will be basically, I mean, he technically kind of sort of is in the Matt Reeves Batman movie, but he's a background character at best, so that doesn't necessarily count. Either way, he's going to be Tim Drake. I'm interested to see what goes on here because Tim Drake is arguably the least, the least interesting of all of the Bat family to a large extent, of all of the Robins at the very least. So very interested to see what they do with that. We're going to move on. Next, finally, we're talking about Dustin Diamond. Now, this one just happened a couple of days ago. This is technically a follow-up as well, but it was pretty big, so we're not just going to have it as an afterthought. Dustin Diamond, we did find out it was lung cancer that he had stage 4 cancer with. So it was lung cancer, and he lost his battle with cancer. It's been kind of a really interesting couple of weeks as far as passings go. Dustin Diamond, though, is the one that we're going to recognize for the TV streaming section, and we're going to take a moment to remember Dustin Diamond. All right, that is unfortunately how we're going to be ending TV streaming. Moving into movie news, we have movie news. We only have 2 pieces. First up is kind of sort of a leak, but everyone's taking it as gospel. I see no reason to think it is not correct, so I'm putting it here instead of in rumors. The subtitle for the 4th Matrix movie is going to be Resurrections. There have been some cast and crew jackets that people have taken pictures of, and it's in the Matrix font, and so every reason to believe this is legit, which is why it's not going into the rumor section. So Matrix 4 is now going to be referred to as Matrix Resurrections. That is the only piece of follow-up news, and then we have another downer. We have the death of a comedic and a dramatic legend in Hollywood. Cloris Leachman, 94 years old, passed just this last week of natural causes. If you are unfamiliar with Cloris Leachman's body of work, you simply must go, just look her up. Basically anything she's in, TV-wise or movie-wise, is brilliant. Even if she's the only one that's brilliant, I've not seen anything that woman has done, including those stupid Friars roaster, the Comedy Central roasts now. Just, the woman was amazing. It was a big loss, but 94, she had a great run. So now we're going to take another moment and remember Cloris Leachman. And again, unfortunately, that is how we're ending the movie section. So now we're talking gaming and tech. We have a couple of follow-ups, and then some brand new breaking news that I did not have time to research, but we're going to talk about anyway. So first, in the follow-ups, we're going to be talking about Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, we do know, if you've been following the 343 Studios blog, Halo Infinite is done. But right now it sits at about Cyberpunk 2077 levels of done. So they're going back through. This is, I believe, the alpha phase. They're going back through to find all of the bugs and fix whatever they can. And then there is a potential that they're going to have a proper beta phase, in just like Mortal Kombat did, just like a lot of modern games do, where they're going to open up the beta testing to a very select group of people, of us plebes who do not do game development. They will be, it sounds like they're not kind of committing to anything at this point in time, but it does sound like that's the direction they're going to be going, and we should see that within the next couple months, and we should see the actual game very, very soon by comparison. So within the next 6 months, it seems. Again, no official dates on any of this. As they come, we will be talking about them. And then our next follow-up has to do with Apex Legends, which is going to be the subject of my next stream. Well, not Wednesday stream, but Saturday stream. My Saturday stream this week is going to be an Apex Legends stream. The Fuse release date is today as I'm filming this, so it's pretty great. You're seeing some of it. If you're watching this and not listening, you're seeing some of it on the screen right now. We do know his abilities now, so his passive ability gives an extra grenade per slot. as well as increased grenade distance and accuracy. So when you launch those grenades, Fuse has better accuracy and distance than any other character. His tactical ability is a cluster bomb, which is just waves of explosions. When you fire it at somebody, you pick a target, and in that target area, it's just waves of explosions, which is kind of cool. And then his the big one, the ultimate ability, is a wall of flame. Again, much like the waves of explosions, the cluster bomb. This time, it's you pick a target and it drops a bomb that creates a firewall around your target, which you can then jump over and ravish them. So yes, that is Apex Legends, our new piece in gaming and tech. And then we'll get to the breaking news, but our new piece in gaming and tech is GameStop. We're not going to be talking about how stocks work because I feel like we kind of touched on that when this first happened. Everybody else has touched on it in a much better way than I ever could. So if you really don't know what's going on at this point, there's plenty of other videos on the YouTubes that will let you know. The piece that we're talking about is that there are 2 movies currently somewhere in development about this thing. And then there's also the fact that now that it's gone and all of these hedge funds have lost a bunch of money, everyone is selling off their GameStop stock, and so the people who are running the Wall Street's Bets Reddit have sold off, and all of the people who were just holding on because they thought it was going to go even higher are kind of screwed, have kind of lost a lot of money, especially if you bought when it was pretty high. It is now, I didn't look it up before I went to film, but it is now sub $200 per share, so there you go. Either way, that's, again, not exactly what we're talking about here. The big piece is the movies that are being made about this. The Winklevoss twins, who we will remember from the social network movie, who are the guys that kind of helped start Facebook in some ways and then sued Facebook because they stole their idea. Those guys, they are financing one of the 2 movies that are going into production. It was unclear if their movie is going to be the movie that's going to Netflix, but Netflix is also trying to take advantage of the situation, and they're also creating a movie. So one of these movies has to do with Netflix. One of these movies has to do with the Winklevoss twins. I don't know if the 2 are mutually exclusive or not, but there are 2 movies. That's all we got. Our breaking news right now has to do with Amazon. So Jeff Bezos has announced, actually Amazon, the company, I believe, has announced that Bezos will be stepping down in Q3 of this year. So about midway through the actual year, because it's Q3, or no, I'm sorry, Q3 ends in August, I believe. I can't remember, but it's later in the year. And so he's going to take a couple of last paychecks and then step down. Andy, I can't remember the guy's last name. I don't have it in the notes. That's how new this is. I don't have it in the notes, but Andy somebody, or it might be a lady or a they, I don't know, is going to be taking over as we get a little bit more information. As I can research into this, we will definitely be talking about it in the next episode. That, though, is the end of Gaming and Tech. So now let's talk very briefly about comic books, because we only have one piece, but it's kind of awesome, kind of amazing. I love Firefly. Let's get into it. Firefly comic books, the books have brought back Wash. Spoiler alert, sorry. If you're reading them and you haven't read number 24, or is it 25? Number 25, which is on shelves now, then I apologize, I just ruined that. But they've brought back Wash. No explanation on how he's back. It seems that he might have some sort of amnesia going on because he didn't recognize his wife. There's a whole lot going on there. If you want to read it, issue number 25, again, is on shelves. The writer is the same guy that's been doing it since we did our review of issue number 1, Greg Pak. Also, the artist is Pius Bach. So Greg Pak, I believe, is how you pronounce the last name. I apologize if I murdered that, because I might have. But that's all we have for gaming or comic books and books. Now let's talk about the rumor mill. So before we get into rumors, we're going to get into some speculation. I am actually going to be correcting my speculation because of the developments of episode 4. very interested to see what goes on, but I'm going to be walking my speculation back from the last speculation section in that I think now it's not Wanda being held captive. I think this is legitimately Wanda has gone crazy, just like everybody else, so it's not really anything crazy or groundbreaking. I don't have a hot take on the situation. I'm just falling in line with everybody else's hot take, which isn't really a hot take anymore because it's kind of obvious. Anyway, that is what we've got for speculation. Now, let's go into the actual rumors. Rumor first is Kenobi. We are now seeing more rumors saying that Qui Gon is going to be in the series, that Liam Neeson himself has in fact signed a contract, and we will be seeing an announcement along those lines sometime in the next month or so, which is very interesting. And they have not been specific with the rumors saying whether or not he's going to be coming back as a Force ghost, or if he's going to be coming back in flashback scenes or what have you, maybe just as a voiceover. If he comes back as a Force ghost, though, mark my words, it's going to be a very big issue with the Star Wars community because in, let me see, what was the Clone Wars. In the Clone Wars series, he did come back as a quasi-Force ghost, but he did not come back as something you could see. You could not see Qui-Gon. You could only hear his voice because he did not finish the training of immortality. So he is only an essence, if you will. He is not a proper Force ghost. So if they do that, then they're going to be retconning some very big information in the Star Wars community, and I don't think the community is going to react very well to that. So, now we have to get in percentages. Percentage that we're going to see Qui-Gon in some respect. I honestly think it's going to be a flashback, so we're going to do this in two percentages. Flashback Qui-Gon, we're going to be saying about 90% likely we're going to see Qui-Gon in a flashback. Whether or not they bring Liam Neeson back for that is kind of up in the air, but they will use existing footage. They will use footage that didn't make it into the movie, something to the effect to bring Qui-Gon to a flashback scene. Sure, absolutely. I believe that is about 90% accurate. Qui-Gon as some sort of Force ghost, Qui-Gon, Liam Neeson coming back to do some sort of new footage or audio. I'll put that at about 70%. I think it's pretty likely, but we're not nearly as strong as the other one. So, yeah, there we go. Moving along, we're talking about Black Panther 2. We have another rumor. This one's from a bit more of a solid source. Another rumor saying that we will be seeing Killmonger return for Black Panther 2. There is, if you really are kind of grasping at straws, there is a couple of lines of dialogue in the first Black Panther movie that they could exploit to make this happen and make it make sense. Again, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, but I think they can get away with it if this rumor is to be believed. At this point, I would not be surprised. However, I cannot say that there is a whole lot to back up this with evidence. So I'm going to, just because, again, things that we've talked about a number of times in this section, they are looking to fill as much content as possible. Also, Chadwick Boseman's passing kind of put them up between a rock and a hard place. So I'm going to put this up to a little bit above halfway there. We're going to say about 60% likely that we will be seeing Michael B. Jordan reprise his role as Killmonger. Next, we're talking about Doctor Who. This one's kind of brief, and there is not a whole lot to go either way. So I'm just going to, right off the bat, we're about 50-50 on this one. But the rumor is that Doctor Who might not be getting continued, at least not for a while. It could go for a number of years before we see another series of Doctor Who, a new Doctor, if you will. This one is rumor based on rumor because there is a rumor that Jodie Whittaker is not going to be returning for another season of the series. I at first saw this as 100% fact, and then I kind of did a little bit more research and went, oh no, there has been no announcement along those lines. But there are a number of sources that are saying, yeah, her management team is saying, do not do this because you are the negative face of the Doctor Who franchise these days, whereas it once had a very large following. That following has dwindled, and they're saying that Jodie Whittaker is the face of that. So that is the main rumor, I guess, and the fallout rumor behind that is that we're not going to get Doctor Who for a while until they can kind of cleanse our palate of Jodie Whittaker, it would seem. So because this is rumor based on rumor, we can't go above 50%. There's no reason to believe one way or the other, so we're staying at 50%. Next, we're talking about Game of Thrones. Not to be outdone, HBO Max is also potentially going to be working on a new animated series it's going to be a prequel, presumably, for the Game of Thrones series, a more direct prequel, not the House of Dragons that we know we're getting, but something that will more directly lead into the series that came to an end just a couple years ago. It's potentially going to be based on Tales of Dunk and Egg, which is a small series of novellas that Martin put out, which see Duncan the Tall and a young Aegon Targaryen about 90 years prior to the events of the original series. HBO Max, desperate for content, that gives this a little bit more credence. Not a great source, but not a horrible source either, so we're putting this one right up 60%. Next, we're moving over to Walking Dead. This one, we've gotten a number of rumors in the past. They've been kind of variations of different rumors. This one says that we are going to get a specific Daryl, not a Daryl and Carol series, but a Daryl series that spins out of The Walking Dead. Very little details here. Not a great source. I honestly believe the Daryl and Carol series more than the Daryl solo series, so I'm going to put this one probably about 30%. He is one of the biggest characters in the show, but again, not the greatest source. We're moving on. Next, we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean. What with all of the crazy legal battles that have been going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, it's not out of the cards that we won't be seeing Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean to some degree. Now, the rumor does go on to say that it sounds like it will be some sort of cameo or walk-on role as Jack Sparrow, but not any sort of influential role into the story of the next Pirates movie. So that lends to its credence. Also, again, the fact that he has had a couple of smaller wins recently in that, you know, Amber Heard now has to pay all of his legal fees, that also kind of lends to its credence because maybe Disney went, oh, we kind of jumped the gun on that one, didn't we? So all of that plays into the favor of this. We're going to put this one right about 65%, a little bit more likely than the other ones, but not a lot more likely. And also, that's partially my bias because I really don't think the series is going to work without Johnny Depp. But, you know, there you go. Then Death Stranding. We're talking video game rumors now. Death Stranding is the next rumor. We're talking about an extended edition that has been rumored to be in the works. Very soon, we're supposed to be getting the announcement, according to the rumor, that we will be getting an extended edition. It will be a bunch more content, and it won't be DLC. It will be a brand new release that has the original game plus all of this extended edition content, geared specifically for next-gen consoles, though the rumor does say that it very likely will be released on next-gen and current-gen, or current-gen and previous-gen, depending on your take on the situation, consoles. So the fact that it does go into those kind of specifics is interesting. The source on this one is pretty solid. I believe this one was comicbook.com, actually. So they are pretty tuned into a lot of things, so that definitely lends to its credibility. I can't put this one super, super high, though, because it is a single source. If I can corroborate this with another source, then we'll bump it up. But as it stands right now, this one also right about 60% likely that it's going to happen. And then our final piece of nerd rumor has to do with Frasier. That's right. It's a little bit of an older nerd kind of thing. Not older as in time-wise, but older as in age-wise. Old nerds, like myself, and hopefully many of you, loved the show Frasier because it was so intelligent, because it was honestly one of the best written shows on television ever. And now there is rumor that we will be seeing at Paramount Plus, which if you've been keeping notes, you will remember that Paramount Plus is the new face of CBS All Access. As of March, that's when it becomes Paramount Plus. I don't have details. We're not talking about that specifically, but Paramount Plus is going to be doing a revival of the series. Now, the rumor does not go into specifics as to what they mean by revival. Is it just going to be a single catch-up episode? Is it going to be a mini-series, kind of like we got with the Gilmore Girls on Netflix? Is it going to be something a little bit more involved? None of this has been specified, but all has been speculated. So We know that these talks have been in the process for a long time, so it would not surprise me if this happens. It does sound like if the things are going the way they're supposed to be going, because this comes from a couple of different sources, that Kelsey Grammer is one of the big holdouts, not because he doesn't want to do it, but because he wants more money than it sounds like they're willing to pay him. So there's a lot of kind of variables here, though it does seem pretty awesome. We're going to bump this one just a little bit over the edge because, again, even though it does have multiple sources, they're not the best of sources. So we're going to say about 55% likelihood that we will be seeing some sort of revival of the Frasier series. And that is all we have for rumors. That's also all we have for the episode. So what did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? I know this one was a little bit long. We had a lot to cover. So thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. Tune in for the next one. There's going to be all kinds of updates that I'm sure we are. I got to keep these notes like I don't normally do. Either way, I'm rambling. Thank you very much. Don't forget to tune in next time for all of the other nerd news that is going to be progressing between now and then. All of the wonderfulness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all of the stuff. If you are falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, then you can click or tap the boxes to that side of my face. I don't remember which side it comes up on. There should be boxes you can click or tap to see other stuff going on. The playlist for the week in nerddom, so you can stay up to date on your nerd news, all of your pop culture news needs, all of that jazz. Don't forget generallynerdy.net's website, patreon.com/generallynerdy to support and check out all of the socials. Thank you very much, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before I go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.